Day 2 of the NFL Draft in the books. The Packers making 4 selections. They came in with 4, went out with 4, but they did pick up a couple extra tomorrow with a trade in the second round, moving back 4 spots and picking up a couple of third day picks, I should say, in the 5th and 6th rounds, respectively. 4 picks made. Which one was your favorite?
Oh, it has to be Marshawn Lloyd, running back out of USC. 7.1 yards per carry, 17 yards per catch. He's quick, he's versatile, can get it done through the air, on the ground. You have to like it. Can never have enough running backs. A.J. Dillon came back on a very cheap contract. He could very well be running back number 2 coming into the season.
Yeah, love that pick. It's going to be an exciting player to follow come preseason, see how he kind of jumps into the NFL and settles in a fairly deep now running back room between Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, and now Marshawn Lloyd. I like Javon Bullard, the safety out of Georgia. Might be your nickel corner type guy. There's a lot of draft experts that project him more in that role compared to a free safety spot. He played the nickel role at Georgia in 2022 when they won their national championship. Saw him excel there. He had 2 interceptions in the national championship win over TCU. He was the defensive MVP in that game. 2023 moved to the free safety role. Didn't quite put up the same numbers that he did in the season prior, but I really like that at a position of need. Curious that they didn't go defensive back a little bit earlier, but that was definitely a spot, especially with Jeff Hafley coming in, that you thought they'd target this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. They definitely filled some positions of need for Jeff Hafley, gave him a few new weapons. Excited to see who they're going to get on day 3. They did add another linebacker in there as well, Tyron Hopper out of Mizzou. Kind of was injured at the end of last year, missed the last 3 games, I think, or so, but more of a special teams guy for Rich Bisaccia, but that guy is yoked.
Yeah, he's a big dude. Yeah. It's a little early for a special teams pick, so I'd imagine they might look to him to contribute a little bit defensively. I don't even think we talked about the other linebacker, the first pick of the day, Edgerrin Cooper, who they took at 45. All-American from Texas A&M, playmaker-type guy. Going to attack the football. Sometimes has a tendency to overplay the football a little bit, maybe give up some big explosive plays. You had talked before the draft about maybe a Junior Colson from Michigan, that typical Mike linebacker who's going to, stuff the run lanes, guard tight ends, things like that. But this guy, you wanted that type of player to complement a Quay Walker. Cooper almost seems like he has a similar skill set to Quay Walker, albeit maybe a little bit smaller physically.
Yeah, the Packers came down and kind of compared to him as a skinnier Quay Walker, but he's a guy who can get in the backfield and wreak havoc. 17 tackles for a loss, 8 sacks this season, and it sounds like Texas A&M, and it looks like he was the quarterback spy. And Cooper kind of talked about it when we were talking to him over Zoom, was that he wants to get after the quarterback. Quarterbacks are faster these days. He's the guy that can get, he could tackle them behind the line of scrimmage. Not after the line of scrimmage. He's going to go get them behind.
We heard from all 4 of those picks. We've heard from scouts throughout the night as well. What's your favorite quote you've picked up throughout the night?
I think it's Marshawn Lloyd saying he's the best running back in the draft.
I knew he was going to say that. I set him up for that one.
You totally did. That's why we make a great team. But, Daniel Jeremiah, the NFL draft expert, said that, or the NFL Network's draft expert said that he's the best running back in the draft. Marshawn Lloyd said he agrees with him. He's the best running back in the draft. He said the proof is in the pudding, and 3 years from now, you'll find out.
My favorite was Pat Moore, the assistant director of college scouting, who came down to talk after the second round. They said, hey, another Georgia defensive player, right? Because remember Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt 2 years ago in the first round, Eric Stokes 3 years ago in the first round, now Javon Bullard in the second round. And he said, yeah, they're so good, other people are taking their guys too, which is unfortunate because that means we can't take them all. They really
I have my headphones in a little bit.
Really love those Bulldogs defensive players. That one made me chuckle. It's a great line from Pat Moore. But the Packers doing a lot of work. They've picked up 5 players throughout the draft so far, and a lot more to be done with 8 picks on day 3. What are some positions you think they might target?
I think they could draft another running back. You can never have enough running backs. Emmanuel Wilson competition, but I think they're going to draft at least 2 or 3 more offensive linemen. They're going to add more competition in that room as well. What about you?
They've had a lot of success, of course, on day 3 picking offensive linemen as well. A few players come to mind. Just a few. Quarterback?
Zach Tom. Quarterback could be drafted, but later.
Competition for Sean Clifford, who they seem to like as the backup. So I think that would probably be more priority free agent type thing. Bring in a camp arm. They see him set at that 1-2 there. Obviously, with Love is the one. I like to bring up the quarterback drama, of course. My thing was running back. I said, they're definitely going to get a running back mid-rounds. They did that today. Maybe the surprising ones might be wide receiver, tight end. That we talked about the possibility of that, particularly maybe one of those big blocking tight ends. They don't necessarily have one of those on the roster right now. Tucker Kraft, a fairly good blocker, but obviously you're not going to come in and be Mercedes Lewis, but that Mercedes Lewis type who, can come in as an extra tackle sometimes. I'd like to see them target that position. If there's a wide receiver who they think can contribute on special teams, but they're so full at that position right now.
Absolutely. What about edge rusher? J.J. Enagbare tore his ACL at the end of last season?
Really the one need, I guess, if you want to call it a need. They're set, at the top in the starter roles between Gary, Van Ness, Preston Smith, but Preston Smith not getting any younger. You're without Enagbare for the entire season. So I would think that's one they look to target probably early on. And I'm with you, though, linemen. I think at least 2 linemen probably drafted on the final day.
Yeah, not the, the sparkling pick that fans want, but you can never have enough in the trenches. Luke Butkus and Adam Stenavich, those guys can coach
living
offensive
in the past,
line. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow.
I think so, too. Day 3 is where they find a lot of their, best picks a lot of times. They've always been good at finding those diamonds in the rough, so to speak, particularly at spots like offensive line. Maybe a cornerback. I don't think we mentioned that, but remember they got Carrington Valentine in the 7th round last year, and we knew, a week into training camp that he was going to be, an NFL player.
Dontavian Wicks, round 5.
Yeah, so that just goes to show you there are definitely guys that can come in and contribute. Carl Brooks, round 5 last year. So there's
the whole draft was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight from Lambeau Field. He's John Miller. I'm Brandon Kinnard. We will see you back here for Saturday, day 3 of the draft, coming up tomorrow.